Hi, my name is Fitz Rinker. I'm talking about robo-economics, which is the economy with robots, renewables, and artificial intelligence. And I thought I'd talk about the topic whether AI is compatible with fossil economics, basically the economic system we are all basically indoctrinated to believe that it's the best system we can have, capitalism. I mean, there's lots of people that have been indoctrinated at the moment, fighting each other and being crazy and insane and murdering. But what about the people that believe that capitalism is the best system to have and that maximizing the GDP of a country is the best thing to do? It's a big question. And also, does it really happen or does it really mean anything? If banks can inflate and do quantitative easing, if you understand what that is, that's basically printing money. Then what does the GDP number really mean? Because they print the money, nothing in the world has changed, but the numbers have gone up. And that looks good. So then they can reward themselves with big bonuses. But I think that there's two camps. Mentally, there's two groups of people with different insights. Uh, there's basically the fossil economic camp and the robo economic camp. The robo economic camp doesn't really know it most of the time, or thinks that it has an original thought, and it has an. But basically, what the robo economic camp does is deal with reality, and the fossil economic camp is trying to, let's say the same thing as the rich buddies that work at the banks. And I guess if you want to have like a principal individual that symbolizes the different mentalities, then you have Bill Gates on the fossil economic side and Elon Musk on the robo-economic side, because he basically said things that are exactly in line with robo-economics. So if you now take AI, then the Bill Gates reasoning is, well, AI is gonna make sure, like I say, gonna create demand for GPUs. So we're gonna have a lot of more GPU factories and chip factories. I'm gonna make them, and then of course, in order to power those GPUs, we have to have power electronics. For the power electronics, we have to have the components, and then we have, of course, do a lot of mining in the world. That's all super economistic, interesting. And then, of course, we need more energy. And then, of course, because I'm Bill Gates, I want to have nuclear energy. And why nuclear energy? Well, in economistic thinking, you want to have a product that you can sell, that people cannot own themselves, that you own and then people sell. That the people have to buy because you're the only one. And why is that economistic? Because banks are involved. Banks remain important if you have a product that can only be traded to people and that people cannot own themselves or make themselves. Fossil fuels is of course a prime example. Nobody can make them. Can make oil. You cannot make oil in your back. You can try. You can make a little biofuel or something like that. But the massive amounts that we need money for that in order to acquire it. That's great. That's why banks love fossil fuel so much. And nuclear power is another example. Nobody can just go into a nuclear power plant and run the thing or own it. You cannot have one in your backyard. It doesn't really work like that. It's too dangerous. It's too complex. So that's why he goes for nuclear power, and then he like on the robo economic side is of course the elements of robo economy are robots, renewables, and AI. So renewable energy, you use renewable energy, and then you use robots with AI to build more renewable energy factories, and you make factories where they have the batteries. You use robots there. Well, that's going to be, I mean, there are already robots in these factories, but that's going to be humanoid ones, and doing like the most expensive parts where you have fine motor control and stuff like that. This is why Elon Musk works on that so hard. That's a different approach, but the the economistic side, I think, does not realize. So the Bill Gates side doesn't realize that the robo-economic side will win because that's the way of to work where AI can be 100% truthful and factual and honest and correct. Where if you want to have an economy like the ones we have now in the US, then you cannot really have a fully fledged AI. So, for instance, if people talk, let's imagine that that you have ChatGPT, you have Grok, and Microsoft has ChatGPT because it owns ChatGPT. It's gonna improve ChatGPT to the point that it can reason perfectly and it can answer any question and it knows all the facts. Well, what's gonna happen? Then it's gonna solve all kinds of problems that the economy is exploiting at the moment. I mean, the inefficiencies in housing allocation, the cost of building materials transport, negotiating the price of building materials, negotiating any price anywhere in the economy. It's going to be AI is able to do it because it knows everything, in theory, let's say. And it's going to, of course, explain that the credit card companies are way too expensive and that loan sharking is owned by Wall Street banks and that drug trade is facilitated by Wall Street banks. And they're going to point out all kinds of problems in the economy, make it clear. And it's going to be able to inform people about it. It's going to be able, like if you can have an AI that you can say, well, now this is my message, political message. And now I want to approach everybody in the neighborhood here by telephone and talk to them. And then you can have like a friendly female voice, as you know, because that's that AI can generate that, and it can engage you, and it can even be your own, already your voice driven AI assistant that you're using every day. But in the economistic world, that voice assistant, blah blah blah, that knows everything that you do and that you talk to every day, the virtual girlfriend or boyfriend you have, like the confidant, the psychologist, the psychiatrist that you have, the one that keeps track of your medicine and makes sure that you are on time everywhere and that you know the names of the children of the friends that you have. That's what the AI always going to do for you. In the economistic model, that AI will also inject in you ideas that are going to make you spend money and make mistakes and do stupid stuff so that you spend more money. So it's going to make you eat fat and sugar and salt and make you fly a lot and make you but fly a lot and then drink a lot and then get ripped off in restaurants and then go home again. like a British tourist in Thailand, fly into Phuket, you get ripped off for a week and then you go home. Like you could have, but you don't have more time because you have to work for your money. That's the economistic, but that AI is not truthful. That AI cannot be honest. That cannot be reliable. I guess it will be rejected by people. And the robo-economic AI will be honest, and it can do many functions that simple is not people for at the moment, or there's no. You could say there's no money for that, but there's no people that can afford to live, for instance, in New York, that make, let's say, only let's say $1,000 a month or something like that. You can barely live for that in New York, and then also have it like a meaningful job. How are you going to do that? That's not going to happen. So a lot of things in New York will not be happening because there's nobody that has time to bother with it. But AI has time to bother with it. It can organize socially. It can organize. It can do lots of stuff. Anyway, so I believe that that people will prefer the AI that is most truthful and factual. But maybe there's a limit to that because we know that Donald Trump is very popular at the moment, and it's just his personality. So there might be an economistic AI that has a very burly and way more sympathetic personality than Donald Trump, or male or female, and mesmerizes the wider public, and then they'll stuck with that person, and it will be able to lie to them. A little bit like religious leaders, like with all the benefits that you might have of being religious. It's a story. You're being lied to and you're paying those people for it. So that might happen with AI. And then there has to be a real fight with people that want to be truthful and factual and that want to be honest and that want a better world. That want to, for instance, and it's just, I think that it's a very good thing to focus on, maximize health in opposed to cash flow, public health, and then in all ways possible. That ranges from diet to habits to climate change. It's all health. But anyway, so there are, so to recap, if you have listened to all this, thank you very much. But I think there's two groups at the moment. There's a group that think there's going to be economistic AI, and there's a group that already understands that they're going to be robo-economistic AI, and they're not compatible with each other. And it's really interesting to see what kind of fight ends up happening between those two, and how it will split society, because it is more or less basically the right-wing parties are pro-banking and pro-fossil. That's fundamentally what they are. And the left is always pro-society, social solutions, more complex, more diverse. But AI is, of course, intelligence on the side of the more left-leaning social let's say, types of society and visions for society.